Hey, what's up, classic TV fans? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about I Love Lucy, more specifically about an episode that I don't know, many people have maybe not seen, have seen. I really want to know and get your feedback in the comments down below. Is this episode seen often in syndication? The reason I ask that is because when I used to watch it in syndication, they rarely, if ever, put it on there. Maybe that changed, but I don't only really notice this episode when I got all of them in the DVD set. So just keep an eye out for that. Let me talk a little bit about it because I think you're going to be absolutely amazed, even if you did see it, a certain scene, and we're going to talk about that certain scene where Ricky actually eats his straw hat, and I'll talk to you about it in just a little bit. But let's talk about the episode. It's called Lucy Writes a Novel. It aired April 5th, 1954, and it's from season 3. It's episode 24. Now in this one, simple as that, Lucy is writing a novel. It's pretty comical because it's something that maybe we wouldn't imagine Lucy doing normally. However, if you go back into season 1, you will know the operetta episode. She does write an opera or a play, essentially, a musical opera, I guess you can call it that. And in this episode, though, in this novel, she talks about everyone in her life, Ricky, Fred, and Ethel, and she kind of makes them as enemies in the sense of she talks the truth or what she sees as her truth about them and changes them up, calls Ricky Nicky Nicardo, and Ethel Nertz, and Fred Nertz calls him an old coot, and he calls Ethel, because of the difference in ages, as Lucy says, like a mother. And then Ricky an old ham, and so they all get upset, the three of them. It's one of the rare cases when the three of them kind of get on a team against Lucy, and they tell her, you can never publish this novel, it's not going to work. And so Lucy hides it, but they finally are able to find the novel, and she has a backup copy that she submits to a publisher that says, yeah, we're going to publish your book. But Ricky, before this, said, hey, I'll make a bet with you. If someone publishes this book, I'll eat my hat. And what was crazy was, yes, of course, according to the story, someone does publish it. We won't go into the reasons, basically because it's a horrible novel. Don't let this happen to you, as it says at the end of the episode. But the whole point is that Ricky is brought a hat by Lucy, his straw hat, and Ricky eats it. Now, why am I focusing on this? Because I think it's a really interesting moment in I Love Lucy. To me, it's so out of place. I get it. Ricky, it's like a figurative language where you say, I'm going to eat my hat. But the fact that they included this in the story, the character of Ricky is eating a straw hat. Of course, that can happen, but it's one of those things where it's just a bit outlandish. Yes, I know, Lucy was outlandish. She fell in a starch vat, and she put putty on her nose, but all those things are in the realm of reality. But eating a hat made out of straw, I mean, it's still pretty ridiculous. It's even really hokey, at least even for I Love Lucy. And so what they did, if you zoom in, it's still kind of puzzling. Maybe that's why they take out the scene a lot in syndication, but you could see where a piece of the straw hat is removed. I'll show it to you here, and they add something else. I don't know what material it is, but Ricky bites into it and chews it, and they even add a crunch sound, as you can hear. Now, a quick note here, the title of this video is true. Ricky, the character, is actually eating his hat. Now, again, while the material of the hat is not straw, it is made out of something edible, and so, I mean, you can technically make a cake in the shape of a hat, put it on your head, take it off, and eat it. You're eating your hat, even though it's made out of a cake material. Well, same thing here. It's an edible material, and he's eating it. So, yep, Ricky actually eats a hat on I Love Lucy. Kind of crazy. Now, we know a lot of you may ask, well, what was that little section of material that Ricky bit into? What was it made out of? Obviously, everything else was straw, but that part where he bit into, what was it made out of? All I can tell you is that it was edible. To me, the most logical thing is something like a graham cracker that he can bite into, because it was something that he was obviously chewing, and it was edible. It wasn't anything like cardboard or anything like that. It was definitely not straw, but it was something that crumbled. So maybe like, I don't think it's bread. It could have been a bread material, but I I don't know. That's for us to speculate and think of. But what do you think about this moment? First of all, have you seen this episode? Have you seen this moment? Because it's really surprising. And to me, it's still at a place. Like, think about everything that happened in I Love Lucy. Outlandish, her hanging out of a helicopter, all of that. Even though it's dangerous and really rare and risky, it is possible. However, this, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking when they wrote this scene and how everyone okayed it. It's just so weird. It's so out of place. And to me, it's not I Love Lucy. It's hokey. It's cartoony. I think this would fit more into something like Gilligan's Island. But again, I want to know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this episode in general and this moment as a whole? I thought a lot of you would be surprised to see it, especially the big Lucy fans. I look forward to all of your comments. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for the support. And most importantly, be hopeful. Thank you to everyone who supports me, especially my Diamond tier patrons. Vito L, David D, Sally N, Ricky, Citizen Kane 359, Kevin K, Greg S. Thank you as well to my new Gold tier patrons, Jennifer P and Scott F. To be listed here, check out the links below for my Patreon.